Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There's no way she can hear you. She can see the thing.
You can't hear me?
Nothing. Mine is connected with Chris.
What?
My mic is connected to.
Oh, take that off.
Take it off?
Yeah. Can you hear me? On chats.
Oh.
Is your chats pulled up?
He's telling you to go to chats on Facebook.
Yeah, I should have been more clear.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
I can't do it until you go live. I can't see anything.
I am
go
live.
Yeah, it's live right now.
He's live right now.
I knew that.
YouTube.
Just test it.
Yeah, Gini, you're Facebook right now.
You're famous.
See? That's blank. I think it's the Wi-Fi.
Are you connected to the Wi-Fi for the hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I plug it back in?
5 people are watching.
They're on. I think it's just the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Turn my volume up. I think I have it down.
Hello. Hello.
It was a delay.
Can you hear me?
I think I have it down.
Hello.
So I could plug this one back in now?
Or just put one here and one there. Don't worry about that one.
actually, Glenn could speak on all of the stuff we're talking about today, but he's an audience member.
Hi, Gini.
So,
Right. Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Gini live in Miami. We are here with the APW State Convention,
Yeah.
Spring Booster
Right now it's seminar.
We have Ian, local president in what city?
mid-Florida.
In Florida. And we have Victor, shop steward from,
Central Florida.
all right. So
And this guy.
Oh yeah, I said Chris and Gini. So we're going to talk about limited and light duty because you guys continuously ask us about this, but Victor and Ian are going to be covering the insides of APW with them. So,
See ya. Yeah, so this is a really special edition of Wednesday night OWCP Chats. This is Chris, and that's Gini over there. And tonight,
Okay.
tonight I have no responsibility whatsoever. But yeah, we're going to be talking about limited and light duty. If you have questions, type your questions in the comments. Gini will read those and we'll answer them about any topic OWCP related. If you go outside of that, there's no guarantees, and I'm going to give you a good answer. So let's start with this. First of all, so as a president and shop steward, what are people asking you about? Like, what are the problems with limited and light duty?
Sometimes people don't know the difference between limited duty and light duty. And you can start off with limited duty applies when an individual gets hurt on the job and the Postal Service has to first find out what the nature of their injury is, send them to a doctor. Doctor comes back, says, well, you can do this, this, and this. And history says, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you got 3,000 hours of sick leave, they find work for you. If you have no sick leave,
Yep.
Sorry about your luck. Is
But-
that correct?
Yes, but
Okay.
but under the contract and by law, when an employee gets hurt on the job, that's limited duty. Management have to give you work. Doesn't matter which craft, but they have to offer you work. If you are employed for 40 hours a week, you are guaranteed 40 hours of work. They cannot come and say, oh, sorry, we don't have work for you. Why? Because that's a federal law and they can get in trouble.
Well, what if the claim's not accepted?
Well, that's different.
See,
So that's what's going to throw people off. Like,
Oh,
well, all right, yeah, I got OWCP injury.
right. In item 15 of our LMOU, which is, it says the number of limited duty assignments within a craft or each occupation is reserved for temporary or light duty assignments. And then it says 15-1, it is recognized that the number of temporary or permanent light duty assignments availability will fluctuate with the postal conditions and the time of the year. In view of this no pneumatic quota, the Postal Service will find every effort to provide as many as possible to be consistent with the needs of the service. Meaning that in our LMOU, they have to go find you some type of work.
Well, and if they can't find the work, then the person basically just goes home and gets paid to stay home.
Yes.
Well, also that can, under the APW contract, Article 13.4 I, it says assignment to another craft. We also have
Oh, the other crafts love that.
Yes. Not really, but it's on the contract. And I don't know, well, it's the same contract.
Yeah.
Okay. And also we have an Article 13.4M. That article says that management, when they're going to assign a clerk to a different craft, management have to submit an USPS official letter to the local head of the union to notify that this employee is going to switch craft or cross craft to another job because of the limitations.
Yeah.
If they don't do that, then that's a violation. Most of the time, management don't know about this article, and they just place the employee on a different craft, and there's a violation because that means that all the hours that craft employee works in a different craft, all those hours should be paid to the craft.
Yeah.
Okay, but by doing that, then there's no violation.
But see, in our LMOU, item 17 identifies the assignment that are considered for light duty within each craft. In other words, if you're in mail processing and you are applying for light duty, you can only work administrative offices, NICSE section, we still have those, markup, revenue protection. In the maintenance craft, you can work policing the outside areas, general duties, and on a platform. All of this stuff has to be within your restrictions.
Right.
Your restrictions will be either on your light duty form, or when you submit, they give you your doctor, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says what you can and cannot do. And under no circumstances are you to do anything outside your limitations.
Right.
Period. It's designed to get you back to work safely and healthy before you, because we just had a problem at work where a guy stuck his hand inside of the crane on a battery room, and next thing you know, broke his finger. We tried to explain, well, management decided that, oh, well, he's fine. I'm like, did you guys get a CA1 filled out? What about a CA16? I'm like, that needs to happen. Well, we were talking about, I'm not going to say his name in Jacksonville. I'll leave his ass out of this. Sorry. They were relying on him, and I'm like, no, this is the rule. He got hurt, 45 days of continuation of pay. Let's get it done. Guess what happened? The next day, 45 days of continuous pay. They were trying to take his annual leave and his sick leave.
Happens all the time.
Yes.
The other thing that happens all the time, and we see it from the doctor side, is the medical doctors will fill out that CA-17. That triggers a limited duty offer, right? The limited duty offer on paper matches the restrictions.
Yes.
So the person takes it to their doctor. The doctor's like, yeah, that matches restrictions. Go to work. They go to work. Guess what happens next? All bets are off.
Yep.
Now they're doing everything outside of their restrictions. What do you tell people to do when that happens?
It happens.
Because it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. And speaking of that happening, this one particular individual, and I will not say his name, he decided to go on to social media. And I'll say again, for those that are out there paying attention, when you are hurt, stay off of social media. Do not tell the Postal Service, do not tell your social media folks that the Postal Service is screwing with you because they won't allow you to come back to work because they trying to hold you down. So I had to tell him to wipe his social media, shut his mouth, because all of a sudden management are telling me, hey, by the way, he can't be too hurt. He's out there cutting the grass with his broken finger.
Oh, come on.
You can't make this up.
No, it happens.
And so I had to have my vice president get him on the phone, basically get him up on the phone, tell him, please stay off of social media and shut your mouth. Let the process go. They end up getting him all the help he needed. He ended up getting an offer for limited duty. And he was on limited duty within his job descriptions. And they put him on tour 2, where the work was.
Yeah.
So, but he wouldn't shut his mouth to save his life.
But what happens when they exceed the restrictions? That's what I want to get to is what do you do about it?
Well, the thing is, if they're on the continuation of pay for 45 days, I always tell the individual who got hurt, it's not your job to rush back to work. It's your job to get close to 100% as possible, if it's possible, even feasible.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of employees that when they get hurt and they don't have any sick leave, then the Postal Service does its best to, you know what, we have work for you off tour. In other words, this person's on tour 2, 6 to 2:30. only work we have available is at 11 o'clock at night, which you can do the same duties in a limited capacity, but the Postal Service doesn't care. Or they'll say, we only got 4 hours worth of work for you. So then we have to file grievances because we can show that there's a lot of work to be done for this person. And with us, and I can't speak for Victor, if they get us pissed off and they get us angry, then they know it's a paperwork fest and we're going to get that shit done.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Mhm.
You know.
So they grieve it though? Like, let's say
They-
doctor says you can only lift 20 pounds and they come back and next thing you know, they're lifting 50.
Then I tell that individual, you're an idiot because you were way without your restrictions and you're bound to get yourself hurt again. And then the Postal Service, because they do call the OIG, they do call the inspection service, because I've seen video where a person was out on OWCP and her restrictions was she couldn't carry no more than 10 pounds. She's got a 10-pound bag of ice in her hands. How do I know it's a 10-pound bag of ice in her hand?
Because it
Says 10 pounds
Because
on
it
the
says
bag.
10 pounds on
Right.
the bag.
Mhm.
And she's got a dog on the other side of her hand.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've seen the video. A couple of my people have seen the videos. And I tell anybody this. If you're faking it, you're going to get caught.
Yep.
And you make it bad for everybody.
Mhm.
Or to quote my granny, wassa for everybody. I figure I put that out there.
Yeah.
So
under the light duty, there's a couple of things that management has to do, and I'm gonna read it because I don't know them.
Let's be clear. Light or limited duty?
I'm talking about light duty.
Light duty.
Light duty. Okay. So the employer, the USPS employers, is obligated to make every effort to find light duty work for requesting employees. They must give the greatest consideration to each request. This is a very substantial obligation. The employee must submit a greeting request supported by appropriate medical documentation. Once this happens, the burden shifts to management to show what efforts were made to find light duty work within the employee's restrictions. It is not to simply assert that no work is available. They always work. Management must demonstrate the extent of the effort to find available work. This effort must be timely. In most cases, it should not take more than 1 or 2 days to process a light duty request and locate available work. If no work can be found, the employee must notify the employee in writing, stating the reasons why work can be found. The employer must, stating the reasons why no work could be found. The absence of a greeting denial is often found by itself to be a sufficient basis for sustaining a denied light duty grievance.
but we know for a fact that shit don't even apply.
Well,
They don't.
It's because they don't follow it.
They don't follow that.
but we're here to enforce this.
I understand
Right.
that, but they do not. The
I
Postal
understand.
Service does not follow that at all.
Exactly. That's
we
what
have
we're here.
we have plenty of people that put in for light duty, and they look at their person's sick leave right off the jump, and they say, "Oh, okay, this guy has." Do the math. This guy has 5 years in. You get 104 hours of sick leave a year, so that's a little bit over 500 hours. If this guy's got only 60 hours of sick leave, they're not going to give you light duty.
Mhm.
They're going to say, well, we have no work for you. They say that all the time. We have no work for you.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between light duty and limited duty is you got hurt on the job and they try to find work within your restrictions. But a lot of times, because the Postal Service, they have an unwritten rule. If you can't lift over 20 pounds, they have no work for you. That's an unwritten rule that they have. The minute you say you can do 25 pounds, oh, we got work for you. I've seen it too many times and have too many cases like that. So, in theory, that's all we can do is file grievances on that. But as far as that goes, the Postal Service, if your restrictions are under 20, you can forget about it. I had a girl that was out for a year. She was in a car accident, non-postal related. She went from, I can only do 2 pounds to 6 months later, I can do 5 pounds, to when she got converted, she can come back to full duty.
What happened?
She came back to work for a second, disappeared again.
Well, here's the biggest problem we find
Yeah.
is, again, from the doctor's side, is our docs try to send everybody back to work as soon as possible.
Yep.
I have a thing I say, the surest way to get paid is to clock in. And
I agree.
when you're out of work, you got to jump through hoops to get paid.
Yes.
And the biggest complaint is, I'm not getting paid. What do I do? I've been out of work for all this time. So we try to send everybody back. But what we find out is that the number one reason our patients, your people, don't go back to work is management can't find work. And we're like, look, we're trying to get everybody back to work. They need to clock in. And it's hard to combat. So what ends up happening is people are set at home. They're getting paid to sit home.
Yep.
But that's also that's a heavy cost on the system too. And by and large, people just want to get back. And management's not letting it happen.
And that's why we have the grievance procedure.
So you agree with that? If they
We have to help the employee, because that's why then we come and we've been trained to fight management and to make sure management life is miserable, and I love to do that. And I know some other people, management was they were trained to mismanage. Okay,
That's Article 3.
trained to mismanage,
Article 3 says management's rights. In my humble opinion, and this is no direction of the APWU, so let me put that disclaimer out there. Management has the right to mismanage. That's Article 3. Now, if you read what Article 3 says, it just says management's rights. But I've learned in my experience as a shop steward in the last 25 years, management mismanages, period. They promote people that are incompetent, that don't know, and half of the people don't know OWCP. They don't even know
half.
I was being
You are generous.
I was being a little generous. They get most of their information from OWCP from us.
Yeah.
And that's a shame because my vice president had to check plenty of supervisors on that. My craft director had to check plenty of supervisors on that because they're sitting there with their head in the sand. I'm like, do you not know how to read? Matter of fact, I almost gave them one of your books. And I was like, well,
They're not gonna read it.
No, honestly, they did. Matter of fact,
No way.
the one time we had a class, I had to turn a manager away because she actually wanted to come.
Huh.
But I wouldn't allow it because I know what was the first thing that was going to come out of most of our mouths.
Yeah.
When it comes to them.
So we can also interview management.
Yeah.
And we love to do that, but they hate it. They hate because they say, no. We are supervisor, we're management, we're the ones that can interview employees.
You know what? We should have had a acting manager come up here. Grab somebody from this 100 people in this audience and had them come out there and we would do this skit.
Right.
And as a union official, they know exactly what's going to come out of management's mouth and what we actually deal with.
So there's a couple of questions that, when we interview management, there's a couple of things we can ask. Were you the management official responsible for determining that there was no light duty work available for the grievance within restrictions? I don't know. Most of the time they say that. Exactly. What did you do to try to find light duty work for grievance, for the grievance, for the employee?
Yeah.
It wasn't me. It was the other supervisor. Okay. Did you keep any records of who you talked to or what they say? No, it was only verbal. So you see,
That's convenient.
That's winning for us because they don't have the information that we need. So when we submit an information request asking for a lot of things, so most of the time they ask for extensions because they don't have the information.
Yeah.
And sometimes they provide the information and we're expecting hundreds of pages and we only get 10.
So let me make sure I heard all this right then. When my docs send someone back to work with restrictions and management says we have no work, they should go straight to their union office and file a grievance.
Right away.
Absolutely.
Right away.
So that's new information I've never taught before.
Yeah.
I've never said, well, because from my perspective, we're trying to get you back.
Right.
If they don't want you to get back, buy some popcorn on the way home.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be sitting at home getting paid.
Okay, so I have
But they have to jump through hoops to get paid while they're sitting at home too, and that's not fair.
this is good for Ian. If this lady is saying, Stacy says, my union lady won't help me at all. How do I get her to help?
It depends on what local she's in. It depends on what local she's in. If she can't get a hold of the shop steward, then she should get hold of the craft director, and then if she can't get a hold of the craft director, then she needs to get a hold of the vice president. If she can't get a hold of the vice president, then she needs to get a hold of the president. Every single local. Well, let me ask this question first. Is she a dues paying member? And what local is she in? Because all of the locals, you can look up who's in charge of what. My problem has always been that people don't do the chain of command when it comes to notifying and finding out who their shop steward is.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to find out who her shop steward is, and her shop steward has a boss, period. Every shop steward has a boss.
There's a chain of command, like Ian was explaining right now. First of all, they have to find what the shop steward is, and if that person knows who the shop steward, and the shop steward is not, helping her, then you go to the vice president, then you go to the president, then you have business agents.
Right.
In the business agents, that's very rare, strange because they always help.
Right.
Then you go to national.
Right.
But I haven't seen things like this going all the way to national,
Right.
And not even to business agents.
Because Article 16.1, and I have this highlighted in our contract, says management will make every effort to assign eligible, ill, or injured employees to available duties proportional with the employee's disabilities.
Correct.
Craft assignments will be considered based upon the nature of the illness, injury of the employee, and making assignments under those provisions. Management will first explore the possibilities of placing the employee in the section to where they were already at. In other words, within your restrictions, they have to find work in your pay location job.
I don't want to be the bad guy to say this, but
go ahead.
But when a steward is not helping a member, or unfortunately a non-member, that we call them SCAPs, we have to represent members and non-members no matter what. Okay, we are in a right to work state, and we have to represent non-members. But if the steward is not doing the job that he or she was hired to do, they need to be removed. They need to be removed. And I've seen a lot of people that have been removed from to be a steward because they're not doing the job. And I have people here in the back that can testify about that. Right, Denise? That you've seen people,
Hey,
steward being removed.
You can't be calling out the studio audience. If that was
She's from my local.
you cannot call out the studio audience, Victor. What's wrong with you?
What
Maybe
audience?
she wanted to be an audience.
What audience? No audience.
What's wrong with you?
So no, we have they have the right to that we have the responsibility to help. And if we don't help,
and there's always two sides to everything when it comes to stewards not being notified, not doing their job. I don't know who that is on the chat, but I recommend that they send their steward an email or call the office, the local office, and find out. But the fact is, all stewards have to do their job.
mm-hmm.
And guess what? We don't get paid as stewards. This is strictly voluntary. I got plenty of people that strictly volunteer for this job, and it is a thankless job. And this is 25 years of being a shop steward, an officer. It's a thankless job. Every now and then we will get a thank you from someone, but most of the time, my craft director has gotten $1.2 million
Mm-hmm.
$2.2 million. I'm sorry, $2.4 million. Sorry, Scotty
And
Claus.
grievances?
Yes.
Yes.
Over what period of time?
About 5 years.
$2.4 million in 5 years?
2 separate grievances.
And you know what Scotty Claus got?
Mhm.
Not even a thank you from,
Yeah.
what do you say, 50%?
50%.
But you know, to hear that kind of a number, more than 2 million in 5 years,
Yeah.
it just makes me think that management's not learning lessons.
Well, I'll do
Oh,
you
they
one
don't.
better. 9 of those employees had passed away.
You still want it.
They were gone.
Damn, man.
Now, if that would have been settled
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years ago, these people would have been alive. So I have no sympathy for management when it comes to that type of shit. I don't. They can get the business too. And if you're watching, any of you management people, you can get that business. Trust me. Sorry.
What do you got?
No, you're good, Papa. No, you're good.
I
Hey,
just
brother,
wanted- I just wanted-
that's the passion.
I'm just saying.
That's the passion. Yes. You're good.
What other questions are out?
Jill said, stewards pretend to do the job or settle to hurt the hurt employees.
What?
Say
that
what?
again?
Say that again, please.
Stewards pretend to do the job or settle to hurt the hurt employees.
All right, so hang on a second. So I don't really like getting into a bash session, but here's what happens, and we hear these things all the time.
Okay.
And I always say this, like, not the people I know, which is not just sucking up to the people I know they're sitting beside me and out there, but we do hear around the country that there are certain locals that just are checked out.
Unfortunately.
And
it
so
happens.
we get comments like that
Some
from
of
people that have checked out locals.
Some of them are, but I say to those individuals that, and this is how I became a shop steward. I didn't like who the shop steward was. I thought the shop steward was doing a shitty job. So guess what?
You became one.
I decided that, you know what? I can do better than him. And I did it. And guess what? I was a single father working tour 1. So there were no excuses. I pushed. And then when my son was born, and my craft director can attest to it, and some people in this room can attest to it, I took my son in a stroller to union meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I took my son and my wife to conventions, to seminars. I dragged them all across the country just so I can get better knowledge. Because guess what? I started this thing when I was in my 20s, and now I'm close to being in my 50s. So I've seen both sides of the argument. If you don't like your shop steward and what they're doing, then go become a shop steward and do their job. You don't like their job, take their job from them.
I agree with that.
And I seen that. And when they say, "Oh, I want to become a shop steward," and when they start trainings and they see how hectic the job is, and how much time it takes from your personal life, and it's like, no, I can't do this.
Right.
He's doing it for 25. I have been doing this for 22. Okay. And yeah, we're gonna turn 50 this year. Damn it, 50 years.
Man, 50 to new 30.
That's new 30, right? Yes.
50 to new 30.
So, yeah, like I said, I've been doing this.
And there's a guy in the audience that's been doing it longer than both of us.
I know.
I wish he would come up here
Well,
and he would testify.
right?
Well, I already have no responsibility whatsoever. We can stick him in my chair.
So, to be honest,
You got another question?
that question was like, it happens,
It does.
but it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
That's right.
The store is there to represent the employees and not for themselves. It has to be as a whole, everybody.
She can go online.
Yeah.
He or she can go online and type in her local and find out who the actual officers are. Especially if she's a member, she can go on to apw.org, create a profile, and go right into her local.
Mhm.
She will show up.
But she had to be a member.
And it will tell her
Yeah.
who's her president, who's her shop steward, and so on and so forth.
This guy named Marcus said, in my local, most of the stewards are kissing management's behind.
Wow.
Then tell Mark
To tell Matt to run for
Tell Mark
to become a
if he wants
steward.
to change it, let Mark go ahead and change it.
And Glenn Hayes said, light duty issues are contractual, OWCP is not, it's a federal law.
Yeah, and Glenn Hayes right here,
That's a
behind
fact.
you. That's Glenn Hayes.
That's a fact.
Great job.
Thank you, Glenn. It's true. Yes.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
What other questions do we have? Yeah, ask some.
I think they like your pretty face.
Yours.
Nah,
Nah.
I'm third world ugly.
This girl says, where can I find something that says we can get up to 4 hours to go to OWCP doctor's appointments?
Okay, remind
You
me.
cannot.
I'm going to post that because somebody else asked me that last week and I found the exact rule. And so I'll post that on chats.
I can give you an example. I have a coworker that is going. It goes to Dr. Dorfman office in Melbourne, and she goes every. And Dr. Dorfman is watching right now, and she go every Monday. She takes 4 hours of leave without pay to go to her appointment, and she only worked 4, but she gets paid the hours that she spent on the doctor. And because it's leave without pay, when she get paid, they take out that leave without pay from that leave without pay. It doesn't stay on her check. It's been deducted when she get paid.
Yeah.
For those 4 hours. So she goes every Monday, 4 hours to Melbourne, and she also get paid mileage.
And I've been doing OWCP for like 25 years, and that's just the rule. So trust it. And I like that people want to have the rule in writing, because management says, no, that's not a thing. You can't leave for 4 hours. What are you talking about? And or you know what else I hear? Because management says, where's that? Oh, we got reverb back here. No, I hear this all the time, that management says you can't do that, or they'll say, well, you can only go on pick a day, whatever. You can't have off today. Well, what if your doctor's only open 3 days a week?
That's the reason why she goes on Mondays.
And what if the doctor's only open from 8 to 12?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got to go when the doctor's available.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another issue that a lot of people, and especially management in the different agencies, they don't think about it the way we do, or the way you do.
Right.
And so that 4 hours is there because you don't even know like when the doctor's even going to be available.
No.
And what if you're driving a long way?
Yeah, she had to drive
Because there's not nearly enough doctors.
She drive an hour and a half one way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so just the round trip is 3 hours.
It's 3 hours, yeah.
And she doesn't have better options.
Mm-hmm.
This girl said, how can I fight back? What grievances can I file? I have like 190 audio recordings and pictures and all kinds of evidence.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. What kind of pictures? What kind of videos she have inside the post office? If it's that, you better delete that. Okay, that's a big no-no. And we spoke about that today. One of the business agents addressed the delegates today about it.
They remove people in my facility. For
you can get terminated.
You can get fired.
Fired. The only way that you're allowed to record videos or take pictures inside the post facilities if it's approved by management and by the postal inspectors.
That's a fact.
Okay.
So we're going to assume that was a hypothetical, that those videos don't actually exist.
Yeah, those videos do not exist.
No, there's no pictures, no videos.
That's nothing.
Right? There's none of those.
Nothing.
No, not at all.
That was a question.
It was a question just in the
as a hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
Exactly, yes.
However, the written documentation is fine.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
so just
of
use all
course.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had employees actually brought up on discipline removals, 14-day suspensions for taking unauthorized pictures in the Postal Service.
Yeah, so we won't be doing that. I'm really glad you guys are here. I didn't know that either.
She said, there are only audio recordings on my watch.
Whoa.
No, what she's saying is if there were any recordings,
If there
it
were-
would have
if there
been.
were-
Recording
anywhere,
on
yeah.
her watch.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be in the Postal Service.
But this lady said OSHA allows it for safety to record or take pictures.
Oh
Good.
no! Oh no! Don't.
So in the audience, we got yeses and we got no's.
Can you talk about?
Okay.
So explain why you think it's a no.
Okay.
Okay.
Safety issues. I had an employee who decided to, and my vice president was with us, would bring pictures to our safety and health committee meeting of pictures of things he's taken on the workroom floor. I almost cringe because I'm like, in order to do that, you have to have permission from, normally it's the installation head. meaning the plant manager or their whomever, what's the word? Designee.
Mhm.
And union officials, we have to get permission to take photos from the installation head. So if you don't have permission, then you don't do that because you will get yourself in trouble. I've seen people get removed for that. And audio recordings, I got a guy up right now on a removal for that because he didn't get permission to do that currently.
So let me ask you this, because it was an OSHA question. And so what I want
OSHA
to,
is different.
No, she's saying that OSHA says, that
Yeah.
she just said, OSHA says, yes, you
Yeah,
can.
OSHA is,
So-
is-
Do it for their, for.
no, I get it. Let me ask, I got it. I got 100%. Let me ask another hypothetical.
Sure.
Let's say you're inside the post office
okay,
and there's some piece of equipment
Yeah.
and it's sparking
yes,
and it's smoking.
yes.
And if they take a picture of it to send to OSHA to say, hey, there's a safety issue,
Uh-huh.
they can be fired for that?
No. Well, the first thing to do is to,
I got one.
okay, go ahead.
This is perfect.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Perfect. OSHA rule reads for if you're going to bulldoze, bulldozing is not illegal unless it's done in a safe manner.
Mhm.
That's the OSHA rule. The Postal Service says there's no bulldozing allowed, period. So if I have an individual is bulldozing and the Postal Service decides to discipline them, and then they say, well, here's the OSHA rule, management's going to say that's OSHA's rule. This is not.
So just because OSHA says you can take the picture, the agency can say we got different rules.
It's their business,
Interesting.
period.
So you have to approach management first.
In the elm,
Okay, approach management first about the unsafe conditions.
it's in
Okay?
the elm.
If
Employee
Management-
Labor Relations Manual.
yeah, and it's a book
That's
like
right.
like this.
Yeah.
Um,
That's all online.
and yes, it's
Yes.
online. So if when you notify management about this unsafe, I know we're going out of the topic, but that's
That's
good.
okay.
That's okay. If there's an unsafe condition, work conditions in the office, you notify management. Okay, if management does not act right away, there's a PS form called 1767. Okay, that's to report unsafe work conditions on the working floor. Okay,
Yes.
once you submit that paper, you give it to your immediate supervisor. Before you go home, management had to give you, there's 3 copies: white, blue, and yellow. They have to give you the blue copy with their answer. If there's no, if they don't fix or abate the hazard, then you can contact OSHA. And I'm telling you, once you contact OSHA,
Yeah.
the following day is fixed.
Yeah.
It's fixed.
1-800-321-OSHA.
Mhm.
Just by the way. What other questions?
He said, I got into it with an MDO about my restrictions and she cut my hours. Then I complained to the senior MDO and the next day I was locked out of my plant. My badge wouldn't work and sent to a location who already said they wouldn't accommodate me. And I had a signed 3971 with his signature saying he wouldn't accommodate me.
That's light or limited duty.
Yeah, what's the issue? Did that person get hurt on the job?
Just so let us know, were you
Yeah.
hurt at work or
Right.
is your injury or illness not related to the job? But let's say it is
Well, because-
limited duty and it's a work-related issue. Let's say it is, then what?
Well, there's a process.
Because I mean, that's what we're doing here anyway.
That's a process. You have the CA forms that the management have to provide to the employee,
CA 17.
and then you take that to the doctor,
Yeah.
you fill it out, and then
Right.
there's a process to follow.
No, I get it. But here, what this person said is they complained. And then as a result of complaining, they were punished.
That's retaliation, and
That's retaliation.
That's
That's
retaliation.
a separate
that's a
issue.
different.
And that's a grievance.
That's
The
the-
grievance.
You can do a grievance. You
Yeah.
can file EEO, and there's a lot of things to do.
Because a lot of times we have it where a person turns in a light duty form. They didn't get hurt on the job, and I had to explain to them the difference between limited duty and light duty. Light duty does not apply to limited duty because you didn't get hurt on the job.
Right.
When you got hurt on the job, the Postal Service has to do all what it's in its power to accommodate you and find you and get you back to work. That's it in theory.
Yeah.
Does that happen? Hell no, it don't happen. But what I've found lately is a lot of people don't want to do the job, so they'll say, "I'm hurt light duty." Where did you get hurt at? Oh, I didn't get hurt at work. Okay, They put in a light duty form. Postal Service says we don't have light duty work. So now what?
Now what?
Well, but there's some steps that they have to follow.
But you didn't get hurt at work.
I know, but
And they throw that in our faces all the time.
well,
Yeah.
you have Article 13. Article 13 covers
Understand.
light and limited duty.
Right.
And like I read early today, you have to submit the request, okay? And you're not gonna get 40 hours of work of light duty. You might get 10, 20 hours, but management has to make the effort to get you work to do. It might be not 40 hours, it might be 20. You might not like what they have for you, but what you rather be out of the job, not getting paid,
Jumping through hoops to get
or
paid.
working 20 hours
Yeah.
until you get better.
All right. So I know you probably have more questions, but I got to get this in just in case. This what I'm about to say happens all the time. It happens every day. It happens in every one of your stations. It happens everywhere. A limited duty assignment or a limited duty offer is going to be made, right? It's
Yes.
going to be made in writing.
Modification.
Yeah.
Well, don't get too far ahead of me. So a limited duty offer will be made, and it's in writing.
Yes.
And the supervisor goes to the person and says, "Here's your limited duty offer. Sign it. Sign this right here." And now, before I learned the rules, what I heard everyone saying is just write signing under protest. And I've read everything there is to read about this, and that's not in the rules anywhere, but there is this in the rules where it says that they mean the supervisor, have to send a copy of that limited duty offer to the claims examiner. And the claims examiner is who notifies the injured person that there's a suitable offer. And then guess how long they have? Anybody in this audience know how long they actually have to review that offer?
24 hours? 3 days.
No.
30 days.
Really?
That's in the Code of Federal Regulations.
30 days.
So they have 30 days. And then if you read further, there's another CFR that says, and show it to your doctor. So what do you think the 30 days is for? It's to show it to your doctor. So the average person who's not a medical doctor, how do they know if that offer matches their restrictions? Think about it. Like, I'm not a doctor and I do this for a living. I wouldn't be sure. So they actually are afforded 30 days to review it. But what's happening is management's putting it in front of, say, sign this now, or I'm gonna pull it. It won't be available now or after this. And so, of course, I tell people file a grievance. Do you agree with that? I mean, now that you know the rule and they have 30 days, how many people can you think of that that's happened to? They say, sign this right now. All the time, right?
All the time.
All the time.
They don't even know about the 30-day rules.
No.
They don't know.
No, we get that all the time.
Mhm.
So,
That, by the way, that little book that I have that everyone's got a copy of, it's on page 35. Okay.
Somebody's saying 45 days.
No, that's COP. That's a
That's
different thing.
COP.
But that's
45
common. Like
days.
there's so many time frames. In my first book, I wrote a chapter on time frames, and the first paragraph was just me having a good time with it. And if you read that paragraph, anybody's got the first book, go read that paragraph on time frames. It's stupid because there's so many time frames, and it's super confusing. And I think management gets confused all the time.
That's
And
AC.
the air conditioner turned on.
That's AC.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anyways, 30 days to review your limited duty offer. And people
Wow.
don't know that. You don't have to spend 30 days.
right.
You can go to the doctor today.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Ms. Rivera said, we just had a supervisor recently video record an employee.
Can management record people?
No.
They have to go through the right channels, and they need to have documentation that OIG or postal inspectors approve that.
Management cannot record an employee. The Postal Inspection Service and the OIG are the only ones
The only
authorized to set up cameras and film employees, period.
Inside the stations, we
However,
have,
we have cameras that have been installed in the Postal Service to where they have them on certain operations to where mail flow and stuff like that.
Security of the mail.
Security of the mail.
Mhm.
Now, the Postal Service cannot, quote unquote, use the cameras for any type of discipline.
Mhm.
But, and I haven't seen it in my 25 years of them disciplining employees for the camera, but in other facilities to where like they fight in break rooms, I ain't saying no names.
No names.
Victor's local, where they slug it out and no witnesses except for the cameras. I mean,
Yeah.
When they have employees on right. But also we have catwalks. We have catwalks in the stations. It's a closed space. I can't explain this. It's like a catwalk is closed with dark windows, glasses, and they have a separate door outside the building, so they can go inside and install cameras there. That's most of the time for postal inspectors to install cameras. We don't know when they go there.
But this girl said it was recorded on a phone.
On the phone,
That's not okay.
No.
That's not okay.
no,
That's
that is
not
not okay.
So
That's
file a
not okay.
grievance.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
File a grievance.
Yes.
I love it when the answer is file a grievance.
Yes.
Just by the way,
Yes.
that's my favorite thing. I want to be able to file grievances myself. If I could file a grievance, you know what I would do? Every single time my wife doesn't cook dinner and makes me eat out, I'd file a grievance.
Well,
who
she's
would-
supposed to.
you know-
She's
well,
supposed-
first of all,
You know who else would file a grievance? All of our sons.
well, who were you file it to?
Well, that's a good point. I give it to her mother.
You know what?
I just won that one too. Believe me, I win every grievance if mom's the judge.
Damn.
Let's go with them, man.
You know what? I'm
But she's the one that posts the
That's-
pictures of what she cook every day on Facebook.
Now you see why I file a grievance if she doesn't cook.
damn, that's pretty
Well,
good, man.
I don't know. The food that she cooked looks good. I don't know how it tastes, but it looks
Oh,
good.
that's great. It tastes better than it looks.
I'm like, well, who?
It tastes better than it
I'm
looks.
like, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, well, who are you gonna file a grievance with? He's
Mom.
like, Mom. I'm like,
Yep.
son of a bitch.
Yeah, see, winning.
That's pretty lit.
Thanks, appreciate
I
it.
like that.
Yeah.
Ms. Rivera also said, I am the safety and health representative for our local 497.
I read
Just
that.
got told I can't take safety photos, but I see other people, employees showing management parts of equipment they need.
And
Okay,
it
but what I
happens.
just heard is she can get permission to take those
Well,
pictures.
First
It
of all,
happens.
it happens if she gets permission from management. But just because you're a union rep doesn't mean that you have the authority to just start snapping photos.
Mhm.
You can't do that. Like, example would be, I'm a maintenance guy. I had to get permission to take photos of a piece of machinery that we were getting ready to move or work on because I had to get a part number. But I got permission to do that. It's their facility. And most people, you'll see right there, the camera policy is posted throughout the building, no cell phones. There's a no cell phone policy in our facility. However, management has acquiesced to the fact that they know that certain people have parents at home, they have children at home, we have different tours. So they allow people to have their cell phones. But there's a no cell phone policy on the workroom floor
Sure.
where I'm at.
I mean, you keep it in your pocket, right?
Technically,
Like if nobody ever sees your cell phone.
I don't want to go into details, but yeah, there's a policy.
There is a policy. There's also a Bluetooth policy. So
Yeah.
all those with smartwatches, guess what?
Leave
It's
that in the
Bluetooth.
car.
But yet I see people walking around with their Bluetooth speakers, rolling around their Bluetooth headsets, my son included, if he's watching, because he has all that hair. Every now and then I look at him like, really, dude? And he'll say, it's not plugged in.
You're into music, right?
So we're not the only ones.
No. That's
No, it
become an
happens.
epidemic with this new generation of walking around with their
Tell me about it.
Apple Bluetooths in their ear. Some of them not looking can get hit with a forklift, hit with a tow motor, hit with a wire, hit with a bird cage. So I
Yeah.
recommend that at least have just one in your ear if you just gonna
You can't live without
if
it.
you can't live without it.
But you know whose fault is that? Management's fault.
That is
Because
management.
even that the policies are posted on the bulletin board, okay, who are the ones responsible to enforce those rules?
Management.
Management. They don't give up.
Flying bananas.
Exactly. It's posted. They have to update it every year. But you know what? That was the first one that violated those policies.
Yeah.
They're the first ones. Okay. And then they had to show by example, but by them violating those policies, that's what the employees do the same thing.
What
She
else?
also said, even when we call OSHA, direct safety representatives come first. They all report to the same person. Calling OSHA is the best way to hold USPS management accountable.
Of 100% agree.
Yep.
100%. Well, something happens in on my station. The AC broke, and it was down for 6 months.
Oh, in Sanford.
No, in Winter Park.
Okay.
Winter Park on the
The AC was down 6 months.
6 months. So
for everybody that doesn't live in Florida, 6 months of no AC is like
it's a living hell.
it's down. It's
a
hell.
living hell.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
So they brought portable ACs. They have fans, no water.
Blowing around hot air. Yeah.
Exactly. So someone that I know,
That guy.
yeah, well, Stuart, management loved me in my office. So I'll be sarcastic. I contact OSHA, right? So guess what? OSHA sent an email to the head installation. And I don't know, by a miracle, the following day, there was water, ice, more portable ACs.
AC units.
And in a week, we have a new unit in our office.
Why did it take that?
Huh?
Why did it take that?
Because they don't want to pay the fine.
Well, and let me address from a building mechanic. The postal policy is it can't be no more than 78 degrees in the building. However, it's Florida.
Right.
It's 78 degrees when that AC is running
Yep.
sometimes. And when you have all the DBCSs fired up in our facility, every DBCS has a stacker, has a motor in every stacker.
Yeah, they're generating heat.
It generates heat. And the configuration in our building is not configured to where they've moved so many machines that the air ducts sometimes will be facing just an aisleway instead of the employee working. So that's been a problem. We've had it where our AC breaks, and guess what? Employees start getting hot.
Yeah.
Employees start going home.
Yeah.
Employees start calling in sick.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, wow, there's somebody out here to fix
Well, let me
it.
tell you what's it. A person that I know went home sick.
Are you saying he looked like you?
I kind of
just like
my
him.
twin.
That's what it sounded like. He looked like him.
So, I fill out
I don't
3971.
know sign language, but
PS 3971 is to request annual leave, sick leave, fill out 3971 and went home.
nobody said anything to you?
They better not.
What you mean they better not?
They better not.
You know what? I went home.
What's the difference between you and any other
No,
employee?
because they better say anything to the employee. They had to let them go. So I left. Oh, yeah, it was me. I left, and what?
The
And
guy
guess
that
what?
looked just like him.
I
guy
filed,
that looked just like him left.
I filed a grievance, okay, and I got paid administrative leave. Because why? The AC was not working. So it went up all the way to the business agents and to labor, and they settled it. So I got paid. When I got the settlement, management, here's a copy. Have a good day. That's my job.
That guy, whoever did that, he's had a bad attitude.
What else you got?
Sounds like to me.
What do you guys know about publication 552? We just filed one.
What is it?
There's a POP. There's a lot of POP 52, POP 552. There's so many publications.
It's harassment.
That 552 is harassment? Okay.
So, and keep in mind when we're talking, not everybody here works for the Postal Service that's watching us. There's lots of people that are their union.
I understand. I
right?
understand.
They're on all
yes.
the other non-postal unions.
Yes,
so-
I understand.
Okay.
Are you saying we're not confined to the state of Florida?
No, we're not confined to the Postal Service.
So you're saying that I'm actually talking to people that are way out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the right side?
So what was the question about
Or
POP
is this the
552?
left side?
Yeah. What's the question?
What do you guys know about it? Because she said she just filed one.
She just filed one?
That's what it said. We just filed one.
We may have to get back to you on
They
that.
have to be more specific on that. Yeah, because that I can really answer that question without
Yeah, that's a
without.
harassment.
Yeah, it's about like what really happened.
Who did she
You know
file
what?
it with?
Send Jeannie a private message on Wednesday Night Chats, and when she gets more of the details, she'll share it with these guys
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Get you an answer.
Nikki Allen said, how long can you be on limited duty?
Forever.
Yeah, forever. And I don't want you on limited duty
No,
forever.
no, we don't want you on.
We hope you get all the way better fast
But
and
for-
get back full duty. But there's no rule against
No,
it.
I got people that's been on limited duty since 1998.
Yeah, there's no rule that has any sort of timeline.
No.
Well, going back to that POP 552, that's harassment. So I'm guessing they filed a grievance on the Article 2.
Which is disparity of treatment.
Exactly. That's my guess,
Discrimination.
because she said that she filed one on POP 552. That's harassment. It's also including Article 2 of
Yeah,
the contract.
NRCB is Article 2.
So I never heard about this 552 harassment thing, but you know what I hear about all the time? Harassment.
Yeah.
All the time. I didn't even know this is a thing. And
In
so
the post office it is, yeah.
So now, like that thing that you just had, I'd love it if you email it to me. I got to read all about it.
Hub 552 is management's guide to how to file for an employee on harassment, sexual discrimination, everything else. Hub 553 is the employee's guide on how to file. Then we have Pub 108 also goes under that.
Mm-hmm.
You should be setting up here.
Well, I've never quoted any of those in my grievance procedure.
I deal with them.
But I'm super interested in it, so we're gonna have to talk.
It says if management records an employee improperly, they cannot use it against the employee.
Correct.
Correct.
Great.
They have to have
Correct.
permission.
Correct.
You have to have permission.
And we have seen,
Two people.
Glenn put that up.
But that's a fact, because like I said, I have a guy out on a removal currently. He decided to record an II, and I'm going to use the word foolish enough to send it to people.
We did that.
He sent it to a person who was already in trouble. She sent it to management. And there's only 3 people in the room: the grievant, the steward, and the manager. And the manager didn't do it, and the steward damn sure didn't do it.
Yeah.
So they take their phone out, they put it on record, and they stick it on the table. Then they're stupid enough, and I'm saying stupid enough, to send it to people. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
He's on a removal now, and he hasn't been in our building in 2 years.
we see management using those videos and those recordings against employees, and
Don't
they
do it.
receive disciplinary action, but those cases have been thrown out.
Yeah.
They're thrown out.
What else?
Maria said, our heat always comes on in April and the AC comes on in October.
Somebody call a maintenance guy.
Where are they located at? Are they at an AO or are they at a plant?
What state are they in?
Yeah, what state are they in?
What state are they in?
Confusion.
Yeah,
A
there
state
you go.
of confusion.
The state of
Let
confusion.
me see. So,
Maria, Maria Floro, what state is she in? Massachusetts?
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Maria.
That's all I have for so far, so.
That's it.
So far.
All right, so
Talk more about the limited.
yeah, so I mean we're coming up on the hour anyways, but so we're here with Ian and Victor. If you got here late, these are president, shop steward for APW in Florida, Central Florida,
Central
right?
Florida.
Not just Orlando, but Central Florida, right?
Central Florida.
And we brought them on tonight to talk about limited and light duty. Light duty is for non-work related injuries. Limited duty is for work related injuries. And, you know, the problems that we've been hearing about that they deal with and how to handle it. And I'm really encouraged because the thing that I heard tonight is file a damn grievance. And not enough of them are happening. And I'm like, to me, it's like monumental. The next book I write is going to have file a grievance in it. And we know some people that aren't going to like that very much, by the way.
Okay. There's a comment from Keith Johnson.
Yeah.
Have you seen that comment on Facebook?
Is PS form? That one?
Yes.
Yeah, so he says, is PS form 1767 good to use for harassment, or is that a real thing?
I just
Okay.
answered it. No, that is
There's-
not a good form for filing for harassment.
Exactly.
And I said, file a grievance. I didn't know that I can see this, so I'm
Yeah.
like,
But
So
now that
now
we're getting
I'm
to
like-
the end,
but no, that's a correct answer. No,
Doesn't go anywhere.
we
but
want results.
that's right. We want
Exactly.
to win.
So,
So-
if-
Your EEO,
so,
file the grievance.
well, when you go,
Hub 552.
well, when you go to an EEO, the first thing the EEO person says, did you file a grievance?
exactly.
So,
Yes.
so I tell anybody, file a grievance, let it get into my hands, his hands, or the audience's hand, which seems to be a bunch of shop stewards and presidents and locals in here. These guys, you get it in their hand, and then we deal with the harassment. We will deal with the harassment. We deal with the harassment when it comes to people getting injured on the job and the Postal Service acting stupid. When it comes to limited duty, they have no light duty for individuals that got hurt. And when they Oh, don't get me started. You know, we got too many. We got another hour of this shit. We can do this.
We
So
don't.
in regards to the PS form 1767, we cannot give more details, okay? But some things was presented during the convention that end this morning. And if it passed, the resolution if it passed, right? When it goes to other higher levels, there's gonna be new forms that can be used for harassment as well.
So stay tuned.
Okay?
Yeah, I would say to wrap it up, file a grievance, and if it continues while the grievance process, file a threat assessment.
552.
File a threat assessment for
It's a
harassment.
classical credible threat assessment
Yep.
report. Yes.
552.
But that form is more not for, yes, we can use it for management, but
The
that's
552.
the 552 is management guides like for harassment, and there's 553 as well. But the credible threat report is more for when there's some issues between co-workers of harassment.
Mhm.
That employee is entitled to fill out that form. That form is being given to management. Management have, on a timely manner, they had to investigate what happened. And if management put that form, that report on the file on the cabinet, okay, then we jump in and we file a grievance because management failed to follow the process.
Any other questions?
Yeah, that same guy, Keith, said, I thought Colorado was a one-party consent state. Also, I thought in civil rights, what a person says and does can be used against them. Can you guys help me with a grievance if I'm all the way in Colorado?
Can we help him with this grievance?
I mean,
Just
you
tell
guys
him
can
to
probably
send
give
you
guidance, right?
Yeah, we just tell him to send you a private message with the information, and we can guide him. We can get the IPWU information from Colorado.
You just told?
What?
You told her to tell him. I said, you just
Oh,
told
that's right.
That thing right there, we're on it.
I know we're live. We're live,
I
right?
know
Can
you're-
you believe it? They've been
we're
watching us
live?
this whole time. Yeah.
Damn it.
We're live, bro.
That's Keith, right? That's Keith.
Yeah, yeah.
Keith. Send an email to a message to Gini with your information. We can get you the proper connections for Colorado.
I
Okay?
There
have,
you go.
And we're live.
right. Did you not know we were live?
No,
You forgot about that.
I forgot. Yeah, I'm having too much fun.
All right, look, that's it. Are there more questions?
Yeah, Jennifer says, how do you file or request a TAT and/or initiate?
Look, I told you I was not having no responsibility whatsoever tonight.
A TAT.
A TAT.
What?
TAT.
What's that? If these guys don't know, I sure don't
And
know.
tentative agreement.
That's the threat, she said
Oh,
TAT,
oh.
threat assessment.
Threat.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has to do it with her supervisor, her manager.
Ask her first if that's a credible threat assessment
That's
report.
the Pub 552.
Okay.
You file
If
with
that's the
manager.
one, she has to go, or he has to go to the immediate supervisor and request the form. That is the supervisor.
No.
No.
I'm filing a threat assessment. I'd like to file a threat assessment
Okay.
now, and
Yes.
that's management. That's
Okay.
in management. Now, once they initiate that,
Yes.
I would go tell my shop steward
Yes.
and tell my shop steward I requested a threat assessment.
Exactly.
So as the
Yeah.
shop steward, I would be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find the manager or the supervisor and say, did Victor initiate a threat assessment?
It needs to be prompt.
It needs to be done now,
Exactly.
ASAP.
ASAP.
Or
ASAP.
I'll call OSHA and report a threat assessment because you can do that too.
Exactly.
Huh.
You can.
Now that's called, wait a minute, I've seen that one done,
Okay.
and that's just like,
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? Because a lot of times people call the OSHA whistleblowers department and they were like, okay, give us the information. Did you talk to your shop steward? If they say to me, well, yeah, they filed a threat assessment. What did management do? Nothing. Jack and you know what else? Okay.
Pub 553 is the employees how to file Pub 552.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Also, Pub 108 gives you information.
Hey, who is that audience member and why is she yelling?
She's making sure she gets up.
She
picked
don't
up on
need
the
a
mics.
microphone. She's our.
Is she trying to get screen time?
Probably.
Is she trying to steal our thunder?
She's our local craft director.
You know what? Then we need to trade you in and put her out there because she's short.
I said we should have had her here. You don't need me. So, all right, we're coming to an end. Hold on. So you'll ask the last question, but this is really interesting to me because we got up here to talk about limited and light duty.
I know,
We ended
and
with
we're-
harassment. And, you know what?
Exactly.
And we talked a whole bunch about grievances. And I think they go together because, okay,
They
the
do.
supervisor won't give limited duty.
Yep.
So you're stuck at home, jumping through hoops, trying to get paid,
Yep.
file a damn grievance. And then, you're getting harassed, which happens to everyone who gets hurt. Not everyone, that's not fair, but a lot of people.
Yep.
And there's, apparently it's so widespread and rampant that you got forms for it.
There's just easy. On the APWU contract is Article 13. It deals with limited and light duty.
Now, for
Also-
other crafts, check your contract because I'm
Please.
sure it deals
Yes,
with it as
please.
well.
Also, it falls on the Article 30 for LMOU, local memorandum of understanding. Each local have their own LMOU. Like the LMOU for Mid Florida is not the same one as Central Florida. It's not the same one as Glen Hayes. It's not the same one as Gainesville. They're different languages.
So
Okay?
check your local.
Check your local. Okay. Article 13, Article 30, LMOU. Okay. And also do not always put Article 15 on your grievances.
You don't have a steward, go above the steward.
What's the last
Or
question?
State president if you have to. NDAs, people are there.
You're going to be the next guest on this show.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Don't forget Article 19.
There's so many articles.
See,
15,
whoever's
19,
watching this,
31.
they should be in the room. This is freaking
Does it
fantastic.
pay to be in the room?
It pays to be in the room.
This is
Knowledge
from
is power.
Lee Chung.
Alicia?
Go ahead.
We need you guys in Jacksonville, stewards and management have no idea what policies or procedures. Stewards work with management, so a lot of the time, people don't like to file grievances because they don't go anywhere. Most of the time, they try to go on the outside.
Well, I have an answer for that. Angela Johnson is watching this live right now, and she's the president for Jacksonville. Okay, so they can contact Angela Johnson, and I know for sure
She'll take care of
she
it.
will take care of this because
100%.
Angela is a badass.
That's the truth. What else?
The last one.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, he makes a good point. Go to a meeting.
Of
And I
course.
say that too. I used to go to the local meetings and teach like 10, 15 minutes about OWCP. You know what you can get done in 10 and 15 minutes? Not that much, actually.
No, well,
Because there's a lot of questions left.
Well,
I used to do it. But here's what I found. That like maybe 10% of people show up.
That's a fact.
And that always frustrated me. I thought, man, I wish more people were here. And so I agree with that. I think get involved. And I say that too. I think I wrote that in one of my books too. Get involved.
There is no union without you.
That's right.
Exactly.
You need the people.
Yep.
What's the last question?
Peggy says, does management have a time frame to give an injured employee a job offer? I've been back to work under OWCP 5C with sedentary restrictions since September 2023, and I still don't have a job offer.
So I think this is going to be maybe an agency-specific rule because when I read the regulations, the Code of Federal Regulations, essentially federal law, they tell them how to do it, but there's no time frame that I've ever read.
No, I don't. Well, on the APW perspective side, it's ASAP. It's like yesterday, right away.
So you're going to have to get your union to get involved if they're dragging their feet on it and file a grievance.
Mhm.
There's a rule here that somebody said on here. So for what we talked about, what do the rule carriers, it says, what about if you're an RCA?
That you have to go to the rural carriers union because the contract is different.
Your contract
as
is the one that's not
yeah,
like anybody
it's-
else's.
Yes, it's different than ours. Yeah,
Still can seek out their union.
Yeah, seek out your union.
Oh, this is.
I've been
live.
getting a lot of emails from RCAs or from mail handlers. So what I do is I try to see who's the local president in that area, and then I
Just push it out to them.
yeah, exactly, because the language is different.
All right. What were you going to say, Ian?
Someone said, this is great. This should be every Wednesday.
Oh, you know what? We
You
do
know-
this every.
We do this every Wednesday.
That's
They
funny.
do that this every Wednesday.
So for those of you that are new here, this is called Wednesday night OWCP chats with
I like
Chris and
that.
Jeannie. And Jeannie's back there, but she started us off. And while we don't do it every Wednesday, because sometimes on Wednesdays we're 35,000 feet up in an airplane, or we're in a seminar, or we're on site doing something in a doctor's office. There are some things, but I think at least 40 weeks of the year we do Wednesday night chats. And so welcome to the show and come back. All right, so that's going to be the end for tonight. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Victor.
Always my pleasure.
Really
And
appreciate having you on
just
here
to-
for the second time, by the way.
yes, for the second time.
You mean he's been in here twice?
If he
Yes.
does it another time, it's going to
If
be
you-
a Victor
Oh!
hour.
If you come to conventions and
This is-
seminars, then you will be
this is-
right. You have to be in person.
Wait, Ian's gotta say something.
This is garbage. Y'all allow him without bringing the rest of us?
Because you didn't
I
show
don't
up to
even
that.
want to hear that, man.
Yeah, if we do it one more time, it'll be Wednesday nights with Victor.
Whoa! I'm fighting words now.
So, hey, come back and let me just plug the podcast. We do have podcasts. Find us anywhere you can listen to a podcast. Anywhere you go to hear a podcast, it's the Breaking OWCP podcast with Chris and Gini. When we decide to record the next episode, it'll be out soon. Our guy Robert, who does all the editing and stuff, is sitting behind the camera,
He better send
basically
me-
giving me two fingers,
he
asking
better
me when I'm
send
going
me
to
a
record the
video of
next
this
episode.
shit.
And one more
This.
thing, like I always said, never give up, and always fight for your rights.
And that's right. And one of the 25 things in my last book is never give up. If you never give up, like you have a chance to win. As soon as you quit, it's over.
Yes.
All right. Well, speaking of quit, it's over.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Good night.